We're back.
Again.
NERDOS, 10 episode. And today we have a review, I guess.
Well, it's
Game
gonna be
of
like
Thrones.
it's gonna like more like a recap,
Recap.
a,
All right.
a blast through recap.
Yes, and we have the
Blast through the past.
Yes.
and we have the whole cast: Ray Victoria, Guillermo Rivas, John Sandoval, Jose Rivas, and Alonso Meza together again.
Okay.
And we are going through the usual cheers.
Yes, sir.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers,
So
everybody,
we're
for
gonna
another
cheers,
good.
We're gonna give a little toast.
Yes.
And give a shout out love to people out in Houston. Hopefully, everybody out there is good. I checked in with our buddy Dave.
I did too.
I did too. Big Dave, checked in with him.
Yes.
Apparently, he's doing all right. But yeah.
There's many charities taking
Yeah,
care
I was
of
gonna
those.
mention that.
Please.
Which is a charity that you mentioned that JJ Watt is in?
JJ Watts. Yeah, JJ Watts. I can't remember what the name of it is. We can look it up, but yeah, I contributed to JJ Watts charity. Obviously, there's a lot of places that you can contribute to. You know, what do you call it? The Red Cross. There's a bunch of charities. Just make sure you look it up online. Make sure you're giving to somebody who's reputable. Also, do your research. But you know, thoughts and prayers are one thing. Everybody says, "Oh yeah, my thoughts and prayers." Send
If
some
the- but
money.
the sun- if
Send
the-
some money. Send some clothes. Send some
Yeah.
food.
Yeah,
That's what people
don't
need.
talk about it, be about it.
Yes,
Exactly.
there we go.
Exactly.
All right.
So
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Salud.
All right. So, one disclaimer. One disclaimer. All of us at this table, with the exception of John, have watched Game of Thrones all the way through. Ray has read all the books. I've read all the books. Your recall is definitely better than mine on the books, but I keep up a little bit.
This guy's like a encyclopedia.
I know, man.
show
This guy's
already,
fucking
man.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty obsessed.
I hear this guy talk with Frank last night, and I'm tuning out because I'm like, yeah, I can't get into it too much. Not yet, at least.
But anyway, the disclaimer is that John's going to be the ring girl today. He's just going to sit here and look pretty
He's
and,
gonna get
and call
educated.
rounds. And,
Get
you know,
educated. It's all right, man. I've only watched everything within a month and a half.
you can catch up, John.
We should watch the porno called Game of Bones.
True that.
Good call.
But I am fully caught up, I'm happy to say.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sure all of you are already aware of that.
Yeah, so a lot of shit happened this season. My first take is that I feel like it was too few episodes.
Yep.
There was too much going on too quick. I mean, it was nice that the pace was better, I feel, but it was just too much crammed into 7 episodes.
Yeah, that is my assessment as well. I think it was an up and down season.
Yeah,
I think that they did all the big stuff great.
that's what I was gonna say. Is that the things that happened I thought were really awesome.
Yeah, and there was
But-
just some of the little stuff that they missed the mark.
Yeah.
We'll get through it as we kind of tear through the notes, but that's how I felt about it.
What did you think, Mo?
Well, I'm trying to recap the entire thing. So, for me, since it's all fresh for the most part, not fresh, but so new, and I'd have to watch the whole thing again to really get in on the full details, is that I felt that throughout the entire storyline, the first 6 seasons was very well spread out. I didn't feel it was
Right,
rushed. I
exactly.
didn't
Like
feel
it was much more fleshed
it was
out.
very detailed.
Yeah, it was much more
The-
fleshed out.
The character development was phenomenal. I guess I can see how you guys feel that this last season was rushed. Would I have liked to see more episodes to expand it? Sure, of course, because we all figured it would be another 10 episodes like the previous season.
Right.
But I mean, overall, I'm happy with what I feel about the show. I'm not freaking like obsessed like this guy over here. I do want to read some of the books.
I've become a little bit more obsessive
But I
myself.
have other books I still want to get through before I even decide to get through these.
But now, my question is to you guys is, has anybody like really thought about like the logic behind just doing a 7 episode season? Like, what's the logic really? Like, why not do 10?
It costs too much money.
But but they're making so much money off of it. So why?
So this was my conclusion. I talked about this with a buddy of mine. I think that the showrunners are tired. They've been working on this project now for 7 years, 8 years of their
Right.
lives. They already got paid. Like,
They just wanna be
this
done.
They're not where where they were at 7 years ago. Where they were just starting this thing and they weren't household names yet. Now it's like anything, dude. It's like rappers who start off and they're really street and they're really hood, and then they make it, and their records start getting crappier and crappier because they don't have that same motivation, same inspiration to pull from. I think these guys just want to get it done.
You think so?
Yeah,
And that's all I can. But see, that sucks.
It
man.
sucks.
It's
It
a
absolutely
bad
sucks.
it's a bad motivation. But
but the other thing might
All
be
good things must come to an end, right?
true.
that's
but do
fine.
it right.
Correct.
Do it right.
Correct. Like I don't see like
I'm
they're
more
talking
neutral
about.
in that aspect.
They're talking about how season 8 is gonna be 6 2-hour episodes. And why not?
Then
just
why
do
not? Yeah, why not just make it
12?
12 episodes or even 10? Make it 10,
Right.
but flesh it out.
So
Because I mean,
I don't
if
know.
you think about it,
I
mean,
hope I'm wrong. But
this season was 7 episodes and it went by like this.
yeah, dude.
Shit
Yeah,
happened
it
like
did go
that. So if you're talking about now the last season being only 6, a lot of shit has to happen in the last season
Yeah.
to tie everything together.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get
Yeah, it did go by
any-
quick because I started watching the show maybe a couple of weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks right before the first episode of season 7 came out. And so I caught up. By the time I caught up was episode 5
Right, of season
of
7.
this season.
Right.
So
You're
yeah,
saying next season is only 6 episodes.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Is that this last season was 7, and now they're making
Yeah, but they had 2 episodes of 2 hours.
right. But again, if you're gonna make each one
That's
a
the
movie,
rule, yeah.
if you're gonna make each one movie length, why not just break it up and do 10? What difference does it make? Maybe in the editing, I guess.
I
But-
believe it has to do with money. Everything has to do with money.
it has to be
It also
like,
has to do
it-
with the cast
because
also.
it costs
because
a
they're making more
lot to
money
do
off
the
themselves.
dragons.
look maybe cast, location,
That's what-
time, finance.
CG.
Yeah, but the CGI part, because I heard that the dragons cost a lot to do and like in production. That's why we haven't seen Ghost again on it, because Ghost is another CGI
he
character
wasn't
they had
at
to
all
put
in-
on
in-
it, and so it
during
costs a lot of
last
money
season.
for them to do it. So that's why I think they had to pick, who do we want? We want the wolf or the dragon, so we want the dragon.
So let me ask you something, because kind of related to the cost and all that. I heard that a lot of it also had to do with just the cast, some of the kids getting older, some of the actors getting older, maybe some of the actors making too much more money.
Right.
How would you have felt if season 6 all of a sudden they recast Cersei or Jaime?
Yeah, then it would
But they have recast a couple,
Yeah,
not main
but it's-
actors,
but it's
that's
minor,
yeah,
minor actors.
minor
My
characters.
question is, if they recast,
Jon Snow.
Bran,
Yeah, that would be.
I don't think Kit Harington's going anywhere because he did that Vesuvius movie and it was terrible.
Vesuvius?
Yeah, he did a movie about the volcano that kills everybody in that town. And
Mount
his-
Vesuvius.
his-
Mount Vesuvius.
his
Okay,
raps
yeah.
were really gangster and it was awesome, but the movie was awful.
That's funny.
So I don't think he's going anywhere. But like if they recast Bran or Jaime or Cersei,
It would be
or
weird.
Arya, no.
Well,
Would you be
it's,
alright with that?
but it was
No,
very
of
strange
course
even
not.
when they recasted Dario Naharis.
Yeah, but he's
You
not.
know, like
he's
from
not-
one season to the
he's
next.
not one of the
It does, yeah, but
You
I
know
got
what?
lost when that first.
I
saw
don't-
it.
Yes, don't get me wrong. When I saw the change,
I was like,
because
who the
I saw
fuck is that?
one, like literally like a minute from the next to the other because I jumped the season.
Yeah,
right
and then
after.
you're like, who the
At
fuck is
first
that?
I'm like, is that the same guy? I was like, I don't feel like that.
Right.
I wasn't
Well, because
expecting
it
the
was
beard. I
established.
wasn't expecting the beard like John's.
I like Pretty Dario.
You like Pretty Dario?
Yeah, I thought he was
Not the bearded Dario.
I mean, I would have liked to see Dario with his hair.
Well,
like,
yeah, with
Ajax.
the, with the,
You know
with
what?
the,
I wouldn't
con la
really
trencita.
mind the
Recasting?
kids
Okay.
on kids, because they change so fast,
Right.
and especially in that age. That's why we see Bran like he's a little kid in season 1.
And
like,
now,
Yeah.
and then he's a
NBA
small forward.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
right, he spurted, man.
So-
I was huge. I'm watching one.
I wouldn't
one
mind
episode
on the
tonight,
kids
like,
that
some
much,
kid?
because even though he didn't have that many lines, it's not that we got attached to that character that much
He's as
into
tall
this
as Hodor
season.
was. He's
You know?
tall as shit.
So
Anyway.
I wouldn't mind on
And
him.
John, you don't have any interest in watching the show?
Yeah, I do, but
You just haven't done it. You gotta do it, man.
We're gonna have to do like a whole Transformers episode for John to make up for this. That's my goal.
just having to sit
For
through
people
the
that
show.
don't know, John is a big ass Transformers fan.
But not a Game
The
of Thrones
biggest of
fan
the
yet.
biggest.
The biggest of the biggest.
I definitely am gonna have to get through the seasons again so I can recap my memories. But I gotta get through all my other stuff first. Go ahead.
All right. So let's blast through these things. Okay. So we're gonna try to go through pretty much the whole season if we can, and then we'll make some. We'll have some questions about what happened and maybe some predictions about what could happen next. So, all right. So real quick, and if you guys want to stop me at some point to make a point, let me know. Okay. So the beginning of the season, basically, Arya comes in as Walder Frey and poisons fucking everybody.
At first, I thought it was like a flashback.
It seemed like I thought it was a flashback
And I was
too.
like,
But then she ends up poisoning everybody. So that was fucking gangster as shit.
So I'm just really quick.
Yeah.
That was my favorite scene of the whole season.
Yeah.
By a million miles.
Didn't you
Not
say
even
it was?
close.
I don't know. I
the
mean,
whole
Series.
during the train when the dragon when Johan comes and freaking blasts everybody,
Yeah.
dude, that was
That's-
fucking ridiculous.
Listen, great. But the North remembers is like my catch. Like I live that fucking catchphrase, okay? And when she got that,
Not winter is coming.
No, North
No?
remembers. The North remembers is the greatest shit ever. There's a shirt I really want really badly. That was my favorite scene by far. Just her expression when she looks over at the wife and says that line.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Just
It was
unmatched.
pretty awesome.
Unmatched in the awesomity of that.
Now,
situation.
and we're probably gonna stop a little quick, only because I want to mention this. But so, what is the nature of Arya's capability of mimicking people? Like, is that magic shit, or is she just putting on a mask and all of a sudden she's as tall and can mimic voices just the same way? Like, what is it? Like her being
To me, it's
her being
it's
no
so-
one. How does
it's
that
so
work?
Out of this world that I don't even know how I would describe it. But other than she takes the fucking face from somebody, she does some crazy ass shit, and then she just.
I mean, because she
magically
literally
evokes
becomes
all
the
that
person.
shit. Yeah.
So how is she able to do that? I don't know. I guess maybe it's
Since they don't explain it, you just have to
Magic
try
is
to
magic.
figure it out yourself.
Two things about that. I do think that there's some magical elements to it, and I think that is where the show is missing George R. Martin's influence. Because
being as descriptive about it. You mean?
the showrunners are just not doing a very good job explaining the magical elements. I'm sure we're gonna get to later some questions about the nature of Bran and his powers,
And the wall as well.
and just other things. It feels like, as they said this on Binge Mode. I don't know if you guys listen to
No.
Binge Mode. It's a really good Game of Thrones podcast. They talk about how the showrunners seem to be a little bit afraid of the magical elements because they're like,
It's such a
it's cool.
huge part of it, though.
But like in historically speaking, people always kind of see fantasy elements as childish, right?
Yeah.
So the show for grown-ups or whatever was awesome when it was about interfamily warfare. But as soon as the magic started getting in there, they've shied away from it.
Yeah, because it's so fantastical.
So that's kind of where they're missing George, and I'm praying and hoping against hope that maybe next season he'll write an episode or two. He should be a part of the ending of that story because I don't think he's gonna finish.
Yeah.
I really don't.
You don't think
He already
'Cause
said.
he's got
I
what,
think he
2 more
already
books to
talked
finish?
about.
That's a
He
lot.
knows how it's gonna finish.
Yeah.
The
Well, the showrunners
show.
know how it's supposed to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he knows.
But they gotta
he
fill
used
the
to-
gaps.
He was writing scripts in various seasons. I think up until season 4, and then after season 4, season 5, whenever it was, he stopped. So I would hope that they figure out a way to bring him back into the fold, and that he can write at least the ending.
Yeah.
So let's go through those
Yeah.
bullet
So
points.
let's keep going. So then, real quick. So then, Sam at some point cures Jorah of Grayscale. That was
Stupid.
Yeah, it kind of took away from the impact, I think, as easily as he did it, I guess, because like nobody else even tried to do that or tried hard enough, I guess.
And it just doesn't. There's no point to the storyline.
Yeah,
It was a waste of time.
it was very like, I mean, it was great that Jorah got cured, but
Just to see Jorah get pissed
Yeah.
again, it's like, God
yeah.
damn.
Now, what-
Now Jones, no.
The Jorah friend zone phase is great. That is a great meme.
Jorah's friend zone.
Yes.
He's permanently in the friend zone.
Oh fuck yeah.
Then so then shortly after that, Arya finds out from
Popeye.
Hot Pie that Jon is king in the north. So instead of going to King's Landing, then she goes to Winterfell and reunites with Nymeria. That was a very cool scene. Good call on that one. I remember you talking about that. It was kind of a bummer that she never really stayed with her, I guess. But I mean, it would have been cool to have another direwolf in there.
It would have, but I think
But-
it's just not the nature of the character.
Right, exactly.
But I like the reference that she says to the wolf, I know you're not.
That's not your nature.
Yeah, that's not your nature. The
Right.
same as his dad told
When her dad
It's
told
a good
her.
callback. That
Yes.
this season did that very well. They had a lot of awesome little
Right.
callback moments to earlier
Yeah, I
events
noticed that there was a lot.
and
Yeah.
earlier references. And stuff like that. It was pretty awesome.
So then Danny gets to Dragonstone. Sam also finds out that there's a lot of dragon glass beneath Dragonstone. Jon Snow goes over there. Freaking everybody goes there.
speed of light Raven. to let him
Well,
know
well, let's
about the
let's
Dragonstone.
yeah. Melisandre talks to them about getting Jon Snow and talking to him and I don't know about necessarily forming an alliance, but at least talking to him about what's going on and get him there. And Tyrion basically tells Dany of Jon's his character and that he's a good guy and that you should meet him and yada yada yada.
Yada yada.
The Turleys then come over.
Tarleys.
Tarly. They join Cersei's. This guy. They join Cersei's side. And Qyburn shows off the scorpion. What'd you think of that?
So when I first saw it, it creeped me out. I was fucked up because I was like, one of these dragons is gonna die. That's
when you started making the predictions about which one was gonna die.
Because when it tore through Valyrian's skull, which was awesome to see.
Yeah, she was dope.
Yeah,
it was so great. So when it tore through his skull, I was like, oh crap. But Drogon took that shit like a G, bro.
He didn't take it square either, though.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
But
So,
I mean, that's part of taking it.
but yeah. But then at least it shows that they're vulnerable to some extent. You know what I mean? So despite the fact that they're these awesome forces and they're freaking destructive and can basically burn things to cinders, and they're still vulnerable to some extent. So she, Dany still has to be careful how she uses them and how she rides on them. And
what do you think of Jaime's dumbass charging at a full-grown dragon?
we'll get to that. We'll come to that.
I think it's just...
I can. Okay, so we kind of jumped the gun on that one, but I can see the point of him trying to do that because he's trying to take Dany out.
Right. He ends the war
and stop the war, despite whether or not he's going to die.
Ostensibly.
But then the issue becomes more how he made it out of that situation.
Oh yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? So
that's stupid.
That's because Bronn is super bad.
Well.
Aquaman.
But
it's just stupid.
So Bronn
like, what the hell?
Somehow or other, Bronn is able to
jump that high.
Fully, charge at Jaime while he's on horseback, knock him off the horse. He's on his horse.
No, only
knocks Jaime off.
So
get into
not only that,
2 feet and then.
Exactly. It's right at the fucking edge of the water, and he's fucking sinking to the under depths of the.
So basically, the lake or river is like boom, like this.
It just drops.
So basically, Bronn rolled a 30 on a 20-sided dice.
Yeah,
and that's what he did.
And then he drags out a man in full armor with a solid gold hand
at the other side of whatever body of water they were at.
And for whatever reason, Daenerys' dumbass doesn't have one of her 40,000 horse people. Scouting the river for the most valuable prisoner.
Yeah, I thought I thought like before that episode, before the next episode, I thought for sure they were going to capture him.
Of course,
that's what I thought. So yeah, him having made it out of there, they didn't really make much sense.
I actually thought he was going to die in that episode because he was charging at a dragon. Well, obviously not only that,
because he was drowned in armor.
Yeah, you guys had already seen.
Dude, he's wearing
the next.
Full
you guys had already seen
armor.
the next episode,
and he's had his hand chopped off. So
not only that,
solid gold, dude.
Not only that, he's on top of a horse. This guy jumps higher than the
horse.
To tackle him. You understand how high he has to jump?
On his horse.
I think we should show John just that one clip.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So he tackles him off the horse and then is able to pull him out of a body of water wearing full plate armor.
If in that year they were doing the Olympics, that motherfucking won every single event.
This year,
he did all the events in one.
We've seen 2 people who could win in Olympic Games: Bronn is swimming and Gendry
the Night King. The Night King.
And 3, and the Night King at javelin.
Javelin toss.
Oh, seriously, Game of Thrones, Olympic team.
Olympic team for sure.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Okay, so another big thing, and that might be maybe not stand out as much, but Grey Worm and Missandei hookup. What'd you think about that?
Grey Worm's taco stand, buddy. Grey Worm
taco stand. It was cool that they made something out of their situation. Yeah, it was cool that they made something out of their situation and that they were able to.
Magical song,
Homegirl got some dome and she's just pimping.
They scissored. They basically scissored. It was a scissoring session.
Were you curious to see if they were going to show
Scissoring?
the remnants?
No, not really.
No, I was not curious.
I really wasn't curious
Thanks.
necessarily. I was just wondering where the scene was gonna go. You know
That's
what I
the
mean?
Game
Like,
of Thrones.
yeah. I was just
There you go. Yes.
You're talking about the porn.
the porn version.
You're talking about the porn.
So I mean, like I said, it was cool that they were able to
Add to their characters.
enact their
feelings
affection for each other. Yeah. So that was good. Okay, so now.
And it was a callback to when John put that work on the redhead in the cave.
Yes, exactly.
He did the same.
That's
thing.
true.
She called
That's
she
true.
called it the Lord's kiss.
That's right.
Remember, she
Good
says,
call, man.
do all Southern lords do that to their ladies?
That's right. You're right. Dude, how's your recall, man? I don't understand how you keep this information in your head.
I have a lot of useless information.
Dude,
but
useless.
You don't know the way I do. So
Dude, I mean, I've read the books too, but I can't remember half the shit that happened in the books. So yeah, that was. I thought that was a good scene. Now, here's where we get to a problematic issue. So Euron is basically, is he like portal traveling from one place to another? Because he knows where to strike, exactly where to go at the most opportune times, and he takes out everybody. And then he's one continent away, and then he goes somewhere else, and next episode he's at another continent, and he's in Casterly Rock and destroying. Yeah, he's an evil dude.
So maybe that's it. He's just evil.
Well, but he's in a fleet of ships, and he's going from basically one continent to another in the span of an episode.
So I think it's a good time to bring this up. I saw an interview. I read an interview with the showrunners where they talked about this particular issue, and their point was that time is not necessarily linear on the show. As in, you see this scene, it doesn't mean that the next scene is happening at the same time somewhere else,
Right.
or that it's happening, even chronologically immediately after. So. You saw the scene, for instance, to reference the person we're talking about here, when they ambush Yara's ship.
Right.
He had a scene. Euron had a scene in the throne room. They discussed their plan or whatever.
He leaves.
He leaves. I'm assuming he's patrolling out in the area. Remember, King's Landing and Dragonstone, the
Right.
body of water that they share is
Right.
it's right there. So it's not a big area of water he had to patrol. Now, as far as when they got to Casterly Rock, when they
After
were
ambushing
there.
Yara and then got to Casterly Rock.
So, if you think about it, this was their plan. They anticipated that Tyrion was going to go to
How did
Casterly
they-
Rock. That's why Casterly Rock was bereft of any Lannister troops. And so then Euron just sealed the trap once they were there.
I just found it interesting that they kind of predicted their Tyrion's move so perfect.
Oh, well,
You know what I mean?
So here's my question, and I asked this I asked half this question on the back of the bus the other day. Is Tyrion dumb? Have we overestimated how smart
here's
he
the thing
is?
is that so in the Blackwater, he was a good strategist.
Okay, that was one plan in 7 seasons. And
But-
we've given him I think we've given him way too much credit.
Maybe so, but I mean, he's supposed to be the smart guy, right?
Right,
He's
yeah.
supposed to be the guy that reads books and he drinks wine and he knows things.
The show builds that. But then this
So-
season, he comes up
And
with
goes to the
2 moronic plans. We'll talk about the second
Right.
one later.
Right.
And then never suggests to John and Danny at any point, hey, you know what you guys should do instead of you bend the knee and you da-da-da? Why don't you guys just hook up? Let's put this to bed.
Right.
But he just, it seems like he's not
As bright as
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 we
bright as they
thought.
make him out to be. Yeah.
So, I mean, I
Okay.
don't know.
Maybe he's a spy now.
That's a popular
That's
theory
that's
after
a-
the finale.
After the
And-
finale.
Yeah, what did you say?
That
Sorry.
He's a spy now.
And but see, that's the thing is
I would
remember.
hate that.
Well, I think I would hate that
just
too. But
want
remember,
in
but
show, I
remember,
would hate that.
but remember, I told you that I thought that maybe somebody's leaking information to the Lannisters about where everybody's at because it seemed too perfect to me at the time. It seemed too perfect to me that Euron knew exactly where they
I
attacked
don't
Yara.
think Tyrion was leaking anything at that point. I think
Maybe not
after
Tyrion.
that-
Maybe
I
not
think
Tyrion
after
necessarily,
but
but I
there's
just
nobody left. It wasn't going to be Grey Worm or
I don't
Varys or
No, I
Missandei
know,
or
but-
Jorah or Jon.
it just seemed weird to me. You know what I mean? Like you said, maybe it is strange that it would be that way,
I think
but
Tyrion was just predictable, dude. He
maybe.
was just predictable, and
Maybe.
Jaime, forget Cersei. Jaime has been in battles. He's been
Yeah,
trained in
he knows what to
warfare.
do. He
was
knows
a
what to
King's
do.
Guard at 16,
Right.
so he knows. And he had to figure not only that, but taking Casterly Rock was the plan that got Robb Stark killed 4 seasons ago.
Right.
So it's not like it's a new plan. It's not a new idea. Let's go take
I
it home.
suppose.
So I mean, that's kind of my thing.
But
It
it just seemed like to me, just at the time at least, it seemed too perfect.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. It is what it is. The scene where Euron has Ilaria's sand and the sand snakes captured, that was a very good scene, I thought. The sand snakes really, I think, were filler. Yeah, they were very like.
Yeah,
they just didn't come through as well as people would have hoped.
Their impact in the books,
right?
And it's awesome that they're dead. Too bad the little Howard had to die.
Bronze girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
okay, now I was trying to put it together.
yeah,
Sand snakes, the little chicks
from Dorne.
Dorne, yeah.
But that scene was pretty powerful. I thought,
both the initial capture and then Cersei's little parade in the dungeons or whatever.
Right, where she basically
both up.
Right, where Ilaria was it Ilaria? No, her daughter was poisoned. Her daughter was poisoned, and then Ilaria has to watch.
So two things. So that's if you think about it. Cersei's got two people tied up in dungeons right now. She's got the Septa, the Shame.
That's
Shame
right.
lady.
Yeah. Septa Olena.
No.
She's got
more Septa Mordain. Olena's the old lady.
No, Olena.
Ulanella or something.
Unella. I'm sorry. It was Septa Unella.
Yeah.
That's what she did. If she's still alive.
I don't even remember the names. So
yeah.
If she's still if she's still alive, if the mountain hasn't already killed her by this point, right. But
they never went back to that, and then they never went back to Ilaria after the time.
Yeah, but I mean, Ilaria may still be alive. Obviously, her daughter might be dead by now, because even though the poison was slow working, it was supposed to. Eventually kill her anyway.
I think Ilaria being alive is important because the Dornish forces are still intact. They just don't have any kind of leadership.
Right.
So maybe freeing her and getting her to mobilize those troops will play out.
Right. So then, basically Euron has them, and then he has Yara. So that's basically his gift to Cersei. And Theon's a little bitch because he jumped off the ship. And we'll get to what I
doesn't
think
have balls.
Yeah,
literally
and
he was a bitch before he lost his balls.
Literally and figuratively.
I still remember when I'm going through season 1 and I text you guys, and I'm like, this guy's a fucking pussy. And you guys are just laughing about it because it is incredible.
Now,
how much of a pussy he is.
Keep that in mind because that leads to something that I'm thinking may happen. But I think that's something that
a big sacrifice maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh my god!
So shortly,
they're gonna missing man parts.
Oh god!
The eunuchs are gonna scissor.
Jesus. So
wow, that's a good
the next episode of Game of Bones.
Game of Bones. God. So shortly after that, John.
He's already has the look of J.R. Martin.
Damn, they tore you up on that one.
That's messed up, dude. Shots fired.
He just needs that hat.
John, you could pass through him in Comic Con and things like that, and chicks will look all over you.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Have you seen him?
Yeah.
That's why you're like, fuck you.
Exactly.
Oh man. So shortly after that, John and Danny finally meet, and you get that funny ass scene where Daenerys, Queen of Dragons, Mother of Dragons, Queen of the Andals, Breaker of Chains, blah 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 yada yada yada, and Jon Snow, King of the North, King of the North, and so that scene was pretty funny. So then finally Bran gets to Winterfell. Reunites with Sansa. Bran has become very emo encyclopedia kid. What do you think about
Bran?
Yeah, he's like okay. So I know a lot of people have had issue with Bran. Obviously, Bran is supposed to have the past, the present, and the future in his mind, and a lot of people have had issue with him not divulging information.
No, but he couldn't see Sam knocking on the door.
Okay, but here's the here's the thing is that okay, so a couple things that I've read is that he's more like Google search.
Yeah,
he's more like Google search.
He's the internet, dude.
Right.
Yeah, I gave this example.
Information comes up.
Elephant porn thing. You can Google elephant porn and find elephant porn if you really want to look for it. Doesn't mean you've seen elephant porn until you Google it.
Right.
So
he has the information available. He just
know what to look for.
He has to access it.
Right. He has to know what to look for.
So the three-eyed raven, the original three-eyed raven, he had already access to all the information. He knew everything that was going on.
Homeboy was
Where
sitting under
Bran-
a tree,
yeah.
dick for
Exactly.
centuries.
Where Bran,
My question is, that guy was able to walk or not?
he was
No,
there. He was
in
just
the, in the
stuck.
books, he grows into the
Oh,
roots of the
okay,
tree.
okay.
Like it's coming out of his eye. The show did a shitty job.
Oh, okay.
He looked cool when they first showed him at the end of season 5.
Right.
The dude they replaced him with for season
It wasn't the same guy?
No,
I don't
not even
remember.
close. I don't
I don't remember.
remember. The guy he finds in the tree originally, it was a totally different guy.
Yeah, I
They
don't remember.
recast him, and they changed his design. And
Right.
in that first one, you see more of the root
Like he's
system
like
in
he built into it.
Yeah, because in this one you don't know. He's like is inside
He's
of
just
of a hole inside of a tree. I don't know what is he,
just
quadriplegic or
sitting in some
something. He's
roots.
just sitting there.
He's just like the old dude, the old pervert from Family Guy, just sitting in a tree, just fucking.
Giggity, giggity.
Bran, we're waiting for you, Bran.
So, so anyway, so again, my take on him is that I guess he's got to be asked the information and he's got to look for it in order to be able to know what's
Just
going
gotta know
on.
what to look for.
So
I think it's because he doesn't have motive. You understand?
well,
Like he doesn't have the motive like everybody else. Oh, I want this information. He just go through it like it's a normal thing to see these things.
I don't know though.
And they
His
made a
patience.
point. They made it a point several times to say that his training was incomplete, right?
Right.
So just think about the characters another set of characters in another fictional narrative.
Luke Skywalker.
Or the X-Men, dude. Like when any X-Men first gets their power, it's not like Cyclops can surgically give you a lobotomy with his optic blast the first time he gets him.
Right.
He blows shit up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So he's growing into his
Yeah.
ability.
Absolutely.
The cool throwback was the when he tells Littlefinger that chaos is a ladder. Was that line with when he basically creeps out Littlefinger, chaos is a ladder.
First of all, Chaos is a Ladder was the best monologue this show ever did. And when he ran that back at him,
Right.
at that moment, I knew Littlefinger was.
You thought he was fucked.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it was just a matter of time. I'm surprised it took as long as it did.
Right.
At that moment, he was fucked.
So okay, so then shortly after that, Jaime takes Highgarden and goes to Olenna Tyrell, and he basically talks Cersei out of
Torturing her,
fucking her up.
putting her in the dungeon. Next
Yeah.
to Septa, blah, 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 and
Yeah, and then basically, gives her a not slow working poison, but a nicer poison. And Olenna comes flat out, and I fucking killed your kid. I thought for sure I would have liked to have seen more rage out of Jaime. Like, it would have been awesome if he had just like pulled his sword and just fucking stabbed her in the heart with it. But I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe they thought it would have been a little bit out of character.
Jamie is
He's become
such a knight. It's like
he's very level-headed.
he's become more that way because remember that he
He's
betrayed his own king.
right.
So
Yeah, but he didn't.
his
he didn't-
character has
forget him,
changed.
No, he didn't betray his own king. His king was gonna burn thousands upon thousands of innocent people.
Okay, but
That was Jamie's
and
most
you think
heroic moment.
and you think history is gonna repeat again? Like Cersei's gonna get so crazy that it's like I won't
Maybe
give up this fucking
that's
seat. I'm
something that
gonna
we're gonna
burn
probably
everybody
talk
else.
I
And Jaime
I
will
thought
fucking
in
kill her.
season 6 when she blew up the Sept. I thought that was it,
right,
and then it wasn't, and then Tommen died, and that wasn't it.
right.
So, I don't want to jump too far ahead. I was surprised to see what was actually finding the final straw between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought that was going to come much sooner.
It seemed well, and the problem is that when it got to that point, it almost seemed kind of a minor thing in a
Dude,
way,
but she
based on
did-
all the other
she
things that
did-
she's done.
But she did the exact thing that he killed the Mad King
Right.
for. She
Right.
used a bunch of wildfire.
But that's
killed
what
a
I'm
bunch
saying.
of
It's like it took a lot more than just that for him to finally say, "Okay, I'm fucking
Correct.
out of here."
Correct.
So that it seemed like he let a lot of things go.
Well, I mean,
But again, he's
in love with
grown.
her.
He's grown as a character. Yeah, he's in love with her. He's grown as a character. So I think it maybe tempers him a little bit. But I thought that maybe you would see more rage out of him finding
Well,
out
he
that
also had
she
to recognize Joffrey was the biggest
Joe
piece
was a
of
fucking douchebag.
ever.
But yeah, I mean, so that was very gangster of fucking Olenna
Oh,
Tyrell
she's-
to come
she
out
was
and just be
a-
like,
Oh,
I fucking
Diana
took out.
Rigg, super props.
yeah, she was fucking
I
awesome.
She's
should go
amazing.
faster with this.
All
Yeah.
of it.
All right, so okay, let's try to pull through more of this stuff. So Danny finally allows John to mine the dragon glass.
John in caves.
We-
John does his best work in
Yeah, they see the paintings in the caves. That you finally get to the point where Danny ambushes Jamie and Bronn, and basically Drogon comes and fucking destroys the Lannister army, which is, to me, that was probably the best moment of the season. I know you mentioned that. I know you mentioned that Arya's moment was awesome, but
This is
I
because
thought,
she's my favorite character. And
Okay.
if you look at that scene that you're talking about, it's just so very over the top, very.
it was huge.
looking for.
It was
Yeah,
gigantic. Like to
While
me,
the
it was,
other one's just very subtle, but the impact of it
Right.
is still the same.
I saw it. Like I saw his army, and he's looking in the distance, and you hear the rumble, and I'm like, the dragon's
All the
fucking
mayhem.
coming.
Yeah,
I'm like, the dragon's coming. And sure enough, and he just fucking plows through them and fucking burns them to cinders. I thought that was fucking
So here's
awesome.
another part where you can tell they're missing George. The fact that has come to become called the loot train attack
Uh-huh.
is awful. This is a show that gives you awesome name like River Run. It's such
Right.
a great name for a castle.
Like
And
it seems
Winterfell.
very like
And
Eh.
Field of Fire and there's all these crazy events. Loot train attack. Come on. dude.
I mean,
Loot
it is what it
train
is.
I could come up with 19 better names than that. Drunk and high as fuck.
Okay, so we're gonna skip a little bit. All right, so Tyrion meets
Let's go to the
with
last.
Jamie and Bronn and says, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna convince Cersei."
Stupid plan part 2.
So, I mean, was there really any other way to try to convince Cersei though, or was
Why
that
did
even
he
was that
convince
even like a lost
Why did they need to
cause?
convince her?
I don't know.
What did it get them?
I don't know.
It accomplished nothing.
Yeah, and it
Tyrion
almost
should
got
have
him
known
killed.
that there was nothing. I said this in the other one. The Night King could have went down to King's Landing, nipples pierced, dick swinging, resurrected Joffrey, Tywin, Myrcella, and Tommen in front of her face, and it wouldn't have mattered. She's
Because
so
in the end, she's
petty
still in
and
the end.
shitty that
She's
it
awesome.
wasn't going to
Yeah.
make a difference. Oh,
She's fucking
Lena
awesome.
Headey's amazing,
Yeah, she's great.
but Cersei's a lunatic,
Yeah.
and she's a petty, vindictive.
It's
True woman at
it's
this
funny that that you say that, because I know, like, for instance, I was listening to your talk with your boys, and how you mentioned that Joffrey and Ramsay were like very, very sadistic, but they were sadistic to like one or two people. She fucking takes out everybody.
Yeah, but there's no
You know what I
sadism.
mean?
She's not getting like
No, she's not
like
getting
a
jollies.
sexual
She's not getting
pleasure
jolly. Yeah, she's
the
not
way
getting jollies
Joffrey
from.
would.
Yeah, maybe not. She's not getting her jollies from it, but the
I mean, she had a little bit of it because when she went and she blew Jamie right after she poisons the
Okay.
Sand Snake chick. She had a little bit of it.
but the
This face is awesome.
it gets exponentially, like her evil
You're
is
missing out,
exponentially
John.
larger because of how many people she takes
Yeah.
it out on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
I just think
you
I just think there's a distinction between evil and sadism.
right, but this
Jamie. Consistent. From beginning to end.
but again, you mentioned about who's the biggest
In the
villain,
first
and
episode.
she's been
Yeah.
an
We see
amazing
that.
villain.
And you're like,
So-
what?
So anyway, so they get into the stupid plan of trying to bring a White Walker to Cersei to convince her to help, and
What the hell's a
obviously
White Walker?
obviously
It's a
a zombie of the north.
Wow. okay.
Actually,
It's not
aren't
a
the
White
White
Walker, it's a
Walkers
white.
right?
It's
The
a
White Walkers are
The
the
dudes, yeah.
right.
The what?
like the.
This
So
is
it's like
the
two
main
levels of zombies. It's just like
captains.
skeletons,
They're
shitty,
just
like
zombies,
reanimated corpses, and then there's these ice
White
zombie
Walkers,
dudes who
right.
are sentient and they
They know what they're
whatever.
doing.
They're like
Yeah.
it's like
I
a
thought-
magical creature as
the only
opposed to
thing
just an undead fucking.
The only thing about that particular scene that I thought was kind of stupid is that it made absolutely no noise up until you kicked it over. It's like he's carrying this fucking thing, and it's been
He
making
drops
all this
it
fucking
down.
noise all this fucking time.
He drops that thing
For
down.
a
Say-
second, see,
For a
for
second,
a
I
second
thought
there, I was
it
like,
wasted
he
away.
opens
yeah, I was
it.
like, did that shit die?
He
It
fucking
just-
did
yeah,
the.
yeah,
He takes
like I
off
was
the
like,
fucking top of it, and it's fucking making all this, and just until he
Yeah.
finally kicks it over.
so for a second there, like, because it was so quiet for so long, I was like, did the wards in the wall work and like not allow it to animate past the beyond the wall? And then it comes out. And
My
it's
question
like,
is
okay.
this too: doesn't the Nice King knows where his minion is?
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Like his
so that-
magic.
I guess that depends.
His
on whether
magic
you
has
believe that he just reanimates them or that he
is a part of them.
That he wargs into all of them the way Bran wargs into all the Ravens. So I guess.
But have they touched on that though? Like have
they
they
haven't
said
touched
that?
on anything on the Night King, but that's why
Right.
it's so open to interpretation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right. So now, let me skip a little bit more. So then, okay. So now going into Sansa being the warden of the North at the moment, and then Jon being away. Okay. So one thing that I had a little bit of an issue with is, so Arya and Sansa have all this tension between them.
Manufactured. Totally.
Well, but here's the thing: is that like my issue with it? Okay, is the scene where Arya approaches Sansa. They're all behind closed doors. Who are they playing it to?
Right.
You know what I mean?
But no. You misunderstood me. I agree with you 1,000%. What I meant by manufacture, I mean the show runners like manufactured this beef between them when there really wasn't a solid reason for them to have beef.
There was no audience for them to play to. So I feel like that was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
In the way that it was played out, like I understand that there might have been some tension, but Arya basically threatened to kill her.
Yeah.
You know, she threatened to kill her and said, "Whoa, what would it be like? What would it be like to have your face? I could be queen in the North."
Yeah. So I read another interview where Bran actually said that they deleted a scene where Sansa went.
Right. Yes, I read about that part.
But despite that, like I feel like it was very like.
Yeah,
it was almost unwarranted. It was very unwarranted.
Yeah, they deleted that scene because they want to make that surprise part of Littlefinger.
But the problem with that is, as the audience, as a viewer, you have more information than Littlefinger does, so you can't get surprised the way Littlefinger gets surprised.
Right.
So you can't build that. That was a mistake in choosing to build that way.
Yeah.
You know, they could have shown us all of the Stark people's machinations on screwing over Littlefinger. Like, let us in on the joke, right? So he doesn't necessarily have to know, but we know. But they tried to keep it in the dark, keep us in the dark, and it didn't work because we know all the information.
Right.
And more importantly, we know who has all the information. It's crippled internet boy. Like it didn't work.
I like I said, I felt like it was.
My
He
issue.
calls himself a cripple, right?
My issue that I've had is how supposedly Sansa is like, oh, I haven't heard from Jon or whatever. How come he hasn't sent one of the
Sent a
magical
raven or
ravens
something like that
to inform her of all the bullshit that's been going on?
Yeah, that's true too.
Keep her, prepared for the fucking White Walkers coming down and what he fucking saw, and that he's teaming up now with fucking Daenerys, but she's just fucking sitting there.
She never informs anybody. He never
Arya,
informs anybody of what's going
worrying
on.
about Littlefinger because of whatever fucking bullshit he's trying to do.
That's a problem that the whole, I think we talked about it with Tyrion, and now to your great point right now with Jon. A lot of the characters in this season, maybe based on the time constraints or something, just acted out of character.
Right.
Even Sam in Leaving the Citadel was way out of character.
Right. Because his whole deal was he wanted to become a maester.
Yeah, and then repeating a line that his dad said when he's like, "Oh, I'm tired of reading about the achievements of better men." That's what his dad told him.
Right.
So, like, Sam hated his father.
Right.
Why
would that be
repeating-
important to him? Yeah.
It's just they were
trying to push the agenda.
They knew that the last thing was Dragon's gonna blow down the wall, and then they built backwards. Like, we're gonna get here, and we have to move all these pieces around to get them here, and they didn't necessarily do the best job of orchestrating the way they've done in prior seasons.
Yeah. So anyway, that tension between the two sisters, I mean, I could see where there might be a little bit of tension because they've from the beginning they were always like, okay, she's the tomboy and she's the princess, and obviously they had a sisterly type of animosity, which is fine. But then when you get into this, it's like it seemed a little bit unwarranted. Like, I felt they weren't playing to any kind of audience to make it seem like they were playing it off. So it seemed a little, whatever. It seemed a little weird. Okay. So finally, so then the Suicide Squad goes beyond the wall to fulfill this crazy ass plan that more than likely isn't going to fucking do anything. Which in the end, it really doesn't do anything anyway.
Well, this is for the Night King.
Well, we already went through that.
Right. So Thoros of Myr dies.
So everybody here has played RPGs before.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you not protect the healer in your party on your quest?
Protect the priest.
It's the one guy
Right.
who can bring people back from the dead
Right.
for the good guys.
and you're not gonna keep that dude alive.
Well, but it was very sudden though. I mean, the fucking zombie bear comes out and fucking mauls him. I
Dude.
mean,
He should be like there should be the arrangement, and he's the middle, and we keep this guy
shield
alive
wall.
because he can bring us back.
Right.
It's so fucking dumb.
I don't know.
That whole plan was.
But so
fucking
yeah,
dumb.
so yeah, the whole plan.
Phoenix down or
The whole
Nothing,
plan
not
was
one
fucked.
Phoenix down among them.
Yeah.
And more importantly, these guys just went on a
Down.
mission beyond the wall, and none of them thought to take. What did they think to take, Lou? Magical ravens, yeah. To fucking let
They
people
had
know
to
that
send
we're fucked.
Gendry
Okay.
to go run a
So-
marathon.
Okay, so here's the thing. How far beyond the wall were they?
Who the fuck knows?
But that's okay.
But this dude
So
ran.
then, okay, so then this is where we're getting into the whole time frame issue, and then you mentioned you were going to explain this.
I
but-
read that thing and explained it.
Okay,
to
so
you.
how far
I was
beyond the
like,
wall were they? How many fucking miles did Gendry run full speed before he made it to the wall? Sent a raven from the wall to Dragonstone. Daenerys leaves Dragonstone, flies back before the fucking Liches or before the Whites start attacking.
Okay.
So explain the time frame for me, please.
So I cannot tell you what the distance is from Eastwatch to where they sent Gendry to start running back.
okay, sorry, just one thing, and I don't know if you've seen this before, but there was and I'm sure you probably know in your fucking encyclopedic mind, but so there was a scene, I want to say it was Sansa talking to Jon at Winterfell, where she says that there's 1,000 miles between King's Landing and Winterfell. King's Landing supposedly is somewhere near Dragonstone, or relatively closer to Dragonstone than the Wall, obviously. So if you're talking about 1,000 miles,
Yeah, I got you. I got
you know,
The math is
so,
it.
okay, so
I'm gonna get you.
go
So
with it.
let's say he ran 6 hours. You think that's fair?
Okay, so 6 hours. Let's say he's a marathoner.
Okay, so but hold on.
How fast
so,
can you run a full marathon?
So Ravens
4 hours
run,
and a half.
There you go.
Okay, so he ran, what is it, 23?
Mind you,
No, 26.3
This
miles?
is the first
He's
time
going
he's
through the
ever been
Himalayas.
north of the wall, and he's in the snow. But so Ravens fly approximately about 50 miles an hour.
Okay.
So let's
Okay,
say
hang on. Let me write this down.
Look
Look at this guy.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to do the math right here.
So let's say
50 miles
Miles an
per hour.
right. So let's say, based on your point that you were making about 1,000 miles, let's double that. Let's say from where they were to Dragonstone is 2,000 miles.
Okay.
Okay. So what's 50 miles an hour to 2,000 miles?
Fuck if I know.
It's 2 days. It's approximately 2 days.
Okay.
So it took the Raven 2 days to get to Dragonstone, and then let's presume that the dragons fly about as fast as the Ravens do. So,
I would
probably
imagine a
faster.
dragon probably faster.
Faster,
Probably
but let's say same speed. So it's another 2 days to get back, right? So that's 4 days total. So then the other part of the math that he did was how long would it take for that water to freeze to
Right.
a thickness enough to hold their weight?
Right.
It's 4 days.
I don't know. I'm still a little skeptical. but-
Sure, but this is a show where we're talking about birds.
I know,
who
and
can
I-
fly
and I understand. I get it.
and send message. Like you can tell this bird, "Hey, go
Right.
that way."
But they used to do that. I mean, that's a.
I looked that up.
Pigeons.
Also. Carrier
But hang on.
pigeons, but carrier pigeons
No,
can
but,
only be trained to fly
one.
But
to
they
one destination.
to one.
maybe
If
two
it
tops.
was, if
Yes.
it was the whole 4 days thing, why couldn't they make that scene seem to last 4
Okay,
days instead
now-
of 4 hours?
Okay, now the other thing that.
That's
Because it's always twilight north of. There's no like day or night that much north of the wall.
Okay,
so
now-
you really, they use that to kind of fudge with the time, so you wouldn't know how much time.
The other thing too that I had read or heard somebody mention is, okay, so one thing that they could have done to maybe I guess alleviate that plot hole a little bit, if you could still call it that. You know, I mean, I can see where your math is maybe, sound to some
Well, listen,
extent.
the show
but-
doesn't explain the math, so they
Right.
fucked up. I agree
Right.
with you, but I'm just telling you what the math.
But I think one thing that maybe the showrunners could have done to maybe make it seem like they were actually thinking about these things. So somebody, I can't remember who, somebody in the internet brought up the fact that maybe what they should have done writing wise is said something like, well, Dany had her doubts about the plan to begin with, so she decides to leave Dragonstone preemptively
Right.
to make sure that they're okay.
Yeah, but then you don't get that speech where Tyrion's like, "You're the most important person in the world."
But you could have done the speech anyway.
I guess.
It doesn't really matter.
It's-
She could have been to Tyrion, listen, these guys are fucking stupid. I'm gonna go over there and make sure that they're okay and pick them up.
Yeah, but that
You know
would,
what I mean?
But then that would undermine John, and that would undermine Tyrion because it was
But
Tyrion's
she's the
stupid fucking plan.
but she's the queen. So what does it matter if you're undermining?
I guess.
You know what I mean?
I think.
So
I think they could have.
I think that made more sense.
I think if they would have just had a couple of more snippets of dialogue between the guys who were trapped at the rock, somebody could have been like, "Oh man, it took Thoros 4 days to die."
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. Now we know.
I guess, but
Well,
that being said, I mean, that was probably one of the weakest points.
Yeah.
Or one of the weakest areas where the showrunners kind of didn't really do very good on
My
the writing.
other thing was why does the Hound was so stupid to start throwing rocks?
Bro,
Like he was so
Because
fucking
he's
bored.
bored.
and
Yeah,
shit.
he's
bitch.
fucking
Huh?
bored.
Boredom is a
He was
bitch.
bored.
And it's not like he's a smart guy to begin with.
Right.
So he was just doing what any dumbass kid would do.
Yeah, exactly. So now
But he's
the
not a
next,
kid.
So basically, what happens is they're on this like island, and the zombies are trapped on the outside because
the water's it's water, not
It's a
ice.
lake.
So they're the zombies are just standing there and they're waiting for help, and then this idiot starts throwing rocks at the zombies, and he's like a 6'7", 6'8" dude. And he picks up like a medium-sized rock and he can't get it all the way over there, and he like slides on the ice because the water finally froze, and that's what signals the zombies to come and attack. It was the dumbest fucking thing you've ever seen, but.
But it happened.
But it was dumb of them to have been there, and it was
Right.
more so because one of the characters in the show said, "This is a dumb fucking plan."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now, next thing that I thought was pretty dumb, and I'm sure you guys probably thought too. Okay, so
I think they pulled that off out of fucking The Walking Dead shit.
all right, so Danny comes in, she fucking saves everybody, or she's trying to save everybody. The Night King, or was it the Night King that chucked the spear?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Night King chucks the spear. Why didn't the Night King chuck the spear at Drogon?
You first.
Why didn't he?
Yeah. Drogon is on the ground with 7 people on his back, firing flames at everybody, and he decides to chuck it at the guy that's in the air flying the other way. Why?
For the scouts?
I was just gonna say my take on it. He just wanted to be a badass and be like, I can kill that motherfucker instead of the motherfucker that's just standing right in front of me.
What did you think?
I just
No,
thought it was
I mean,
weird. I thought it was
what
a
did you
weird choice.
I don't know.
It just
they
seemed
didn't
odd
put
to me.
attention down to this guy.
But
Like,
it
why?
just seemed odd to me.
When I'm watching the scene, it
I
kind of
don't
looks like
care.
he's gonna go after Drogon first, and then he's like, nah, let me get this motherfucker.
But that doesn't make any sense.
So
Just
this
wants to
is
be a badass.
this is what I'll tell you. I think that it ties into the same question you had earlier. I think before we started recording about how Danny knew where to find them.
Mhm.
Right. I think that this has been his plan all along. So he knew they were going to be there. There's a reason why he wanted that dragon.
So you think he has the same knowledge that the
He
Three-Eyed
knew-
Raven has?
Yeah,
He knew because he's Bran.
No, he ain't right.
Oh,
That's a popular theory.
That is a theory.
It's a popular
Yeah,
theory,
yeah.
but he ain't right. But he's.
No, I don't think it's
I think he's a
happening.
Stark. 100% he's a Stark. But he orchestrated those events. That's why it took him so long to get there. And that's why they were just hanging out there. Because he had to wait for the dragons to grow and
But-
for Danny to show up with the dragons. Like he's been playing the
But
longest
isn't-
of long games.
Okay, but if you think about it though, isn't that then just like a
There
typical?
must be a reason why he's keeping John alive, because he could have killed him at Hardhome.
Okay,
There's a reason for
But-
it.
but then-
we haven't been
then
exposed to it yet.
but then here's the thing is, and okay, maybe the show, maybe whoever's writing the show, or maybe fucking George R. R. Martin is smarter than I am, but
Yes, he
maybe he is. Okay, so he is. Anyway, my point is that then
No
doesn't
discussion
that
in
doesn't that just play into like the typical villain trope though, that you just kind of like monologue as people are doing things instead of just killing the bad or killing the good. You know what I mean?
It
Like,
could be. I guess we have to wait and see until they,
like
if
what's
and when they explain what his
what
motivation.
what's the logic then? You know what I mean? To me, I mean,
there must have been a reason, dude. And here's
I
another thing.
guess.
Who do you think is responsible? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, no, that guy is the god of that world. So.
Yeah, pretty much at this point.
Yeah, but again, I mean, it's one of those things where like as a bad guy, fucking kill the good guy.
But here's a bigger question: who's responsible? Who do you think ultimately is really responsible for the fact that one of the 3 most powerful weapons in this world just died?
Man.
No, fucking the stupid plan. I mean,
No.
Then what?
Any what do you think?
Um,
Like, who do I think is responsible for Viserion dying?
Yeah.
I
Daenerys.
just think.
Once
Well,
again, winner chicken dinner.
But only because she felt compelled to go help.
No, that's not why it's her fault. It's her fault because she never bothered to find writers for Rhaegal and Viserion.
Okay.
So, and then
They do whatever they want.
and
to some
then
extent.
she chained them up in the pyramid. So they are smaller than Drogon. They had no battle experience. She had no business taking them over there to begin with. As soon as Viserion gets hit with the spear, Rhaegal books. I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't really
He
notice that.
jets.
yeah, that's true. He was like really nowhere.
He's gone.
Wow.
So those two, she never paid them any attention.
Right.
Think about the history of the show. How much love did she show those two versus how much time she
True.
spent with Drogon?
True.
She is responsible for that because she didn't give them the same attention, training, et cetera, that she gave Drogon.
Okay.
And that's why they were totally unprepared for that.
Okay. I mean, I can see that point. Okay.
And so she
Makes sense.
And she's gone around and in the last episode she says, "Oh, John, whatever. If this and this, my dragon died for nothing." No, your dragon didn't die for nothing because John couldn't lie. Your dragon died for nothing because you sucked as a mother.
Slap.
Damn.
Damn.
Sick burn.
Fuck.
I mean, it's true, dude.
You're getting-
She big favorites.
You're getting
Alright.
eat by a fucking
So
dragon.
the White Walkers have a Dracolich.
What did he breathe? Is that fire? Is that ice? Is it lasers?
It's gotta be
like-
fire.
It's
Like
like
an ice fire.
It's gotta
Okay,
be fire
I
because
heard-
if it was ice, it would build the wall back up. I mean, it would make no sense.
I heard that they don't explain the magic that the Night King has, but it's supposedly is some type of magic that he's throwing out of
It's like a laser.
That's what
something like that. I think in the books it's something like that.
No, he's
yeah,
that hasn't happened.
they haven't,
No.
they hasn't gotten that far.
Oh, okay. So, but they haven't explained completely his magic, his power of magic. So
You want to know how they could have answered this question really easily? When we're jumping ahead here, but when he's tearing down the wall, if they would have shown him breathe on one of those idiots that was on the wall, and either showed him freeze or showed him
burn.
Burn, right?
question answer.
Yeah, true.
Just
But-
come on.
Okay, my
But-
other question is doesn't the wall has magic too?
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll get. Okay, so we'll
Yeah,
get
so
to that.
magical.
Yeah, we're gonna get to
Yeah,
that.
it's a
Has
magical
wards
wall.
against the undead.
Right.
But the problem is that he's not trying to cross it. He's breathing
Blasting at it.
optic blast into it. So you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's got to be something.
Okay,
at
well,
this point.
the fact of the matter is that it can't be ice that he's breathing because if you were breathing ice, it would make the wall thicker.
Well,
Yeah,
that's very
so-
true because if you drop let's say on a frozen lake, if you drop a big enough
spear
chunk of ice,
Yeah, it'll break
it'll
through.
Yeah,
break through.
but
It could be
it's not gonna blend into the
It could be a
ice.
concussive force that's what was.
I don't know. I don't really. I don't buy that.
But,
I think it's gotta be
Isn't in
something.
isn't
like
in
that.
physics or
and science.
isn't
Plasma
it
energy.
isn't in physics or
Science,
in science ice is colder than becomes
Becomes
hotter than fire?
No. What?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you can get burned by ice, right?
Yeah, but
If you drop the temperature of something far enough, it becomes
But
true,
if you drop the temperature to something so far down the limits, whatever it is, it disintegrates because it becomes molecules. Or
maybe
something like
it
that.
makes it more
I
brittle.
think that's how it
guess.
becomes.
And maybe like you said, a concussive blast or something like that. I don't know. It's weird.
Plasma energy.
Or whatever. But okay.
It's a
So-
Kamehameha.
There you
Now
go.
before
Sorry about
before before the wall gets blasted down. Okay, so the other point of contention was Benjen Stark comes and saves Jon Snow as he's freaking hacking people down, and he's like, "Jon, get on the horse, get back to the wall. I can't go with you. What the fuck?"
Listen, I agree.
They needed to put somebody to save him, just to keep him
But
alive.
I thought it was going to be Rhaegal, right? I thought that was going to be the scene where they showed
Like you
John.
said, there wasn't enough time.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be the scene where they showed John ride a dragon and boom. If you remember the trailer for the season, and actually one of the last lines in the last episode when Sansa's talking about, she's re-quoting Ned when she's talking about the lone wolf dies and the pack
and the pack
survives.
survives.
Benjen was the lone wolf that died, so the pack could survive too. I
Okay,
mean,
all right.
it's not tidy and it's not
Yeah.
neat,
It's just funny.
but
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's just like he could have
But
easily
what
gotten
does
on the
it-
horse.
But he doesn't matter because he still can't go He's
Okay,
undead.
maybe
He can't go
okay,
top
maybe
the
he
wall.
can go past the wall, but he wouldn't have died right there. You know
And
what
so
I mean?
how come he keeps his conscience?
Because
Something
he's
that the
somewhere-
children did, right?
Yeah, he's somewhere halfway between.
Yeah, the children saved him.
Oh.
He's
But
not fully turned.
the show doesn't explain that.
No, and the thing is, and in the books they haven't explained that yet because they haven't
Yeah.
revealed who he was.
Oh,
yet.
okay.
Like his character is a lot more important in the books than in the show.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay.
But, yeah.
All right. So moving on. So now, finally, we get to the meeting at King's Landing. Danny is on Cuban time, and she runs a little late. But then she comes in. But then she what?
Just floss. She was like
She-
trying to show off.
Yeah, exactly. She's trying to show off with her dragons. She comes in with her dragons now. Okay, so then they finally bring the White Walker in.
But Cersei
The
doesn't
white-
even flinch when she saw the
No,
fucking dragon. She just
Well, okay, so that's what I was getting at.
Euron popped a boner. He saw Euron.
Okay,
Euron
but
was like,
Euron. But here's the thing. but here's
oh, one of those.
But here's the thing is that like so okay, so they haven't seen dragons in how long? I mean, it's been what, thousands of years, I guess. So they see
It's
a
a
fucking
myth.
dragon, then they see a white, and Euron is like, the white terrified me, but the dragon
Right?
didn't."
Yeah. I thought that was a little ridiculous. When you said
Dragons, even though it's been quite a while, it's actually been 1,000 years, about 150 years.
I mean, whatever it is. I mean, it's
Okay.
still been fucking
generations.
one.
Already
The
past
point
like
is
at
they
least
see-
Nobody alive has ever
But,
seen it.
okay, but they've seen the fossil remains, right? So think about this. If I told you right now, and you'd never seen a dinosaur fossil at a museum before, and I just you
Right.
had no prior
The fact
knowledge,
is that you saw that it existed.
and I told
and
you
now
there
that
used
it
to
just
be
came
these
out of nowhere.
enormous fucking animals that used to eat shit and could end all of our existences, you'd be like, bro, you're fucking crazy. And then I show you a picture of a T-Rex, you flip your shit. But, you're in a museum and you see a T-Rex bone, you're like, oh, cool, T-Rex bones.
But if he sees a T-Rex in real life and he sees a zombie in real life, the zombie's terrifying.
Yeah, of course. Because,
But the T-Rex is not.
because you at this point, you had no reason to believe the zombie was
You
real.
were educated
Still,
on
though.
It hadn't been
I still shit
100.
my pants.
It hadn't been 150 years since there were zombies. It'd been 6,000 years since zombies.
I don't know. Either way, they should have all been taking a shit when
Well, he
Drogon
lied,
flowed
anyway.
down.
He lied.
True.
So it doesn't matter.
But okay,
That was
but
that was part of.
I just thought that
his
was.
dumb shit. He
I
lied.
just thought that was kind of stupid.
Am I skipping on anything saying it was cool how Cersei had him go do the other shit instead of him saying that he was running away?
Well, I was gonna get to that, but I mean, it was her plan all along. I mean,
Right.
that was her thing.
Yeah,
You know,
it was
she-
a great fucking twist.
More
it was-
evidence of White Tyrion than idiot.
right. It was her plan to be like, okay, we're gonna make this guy seem like he's a fucking pussy and leave, but then he's gonna go and get the company. So
And Theon's another idiot for believing that Euron would actually be scared. Like,
right,
I would have been like, listen, no, that's not happening.
Right.
He's lying.
Okay, so then skipping
Did
a
you
little
believe
bit.
it when he said it? That
What
he
was that?
really went back to the Iron Islands? Did you believe it?
At first I kind of did,
At first,
like because again I
Did
felt
you?
like only-
From
only-
the minute he said it, I was like,
only because Euron is out for himself. Really, he
Yeah.
wants to be king and he
that's
wants to do
what
things for
that's what I
himself.
thought.
So if it wasn't going to be to his benefit to help people out, for him to leave, it really wasn't like a big deal to me. You know what I mean? Like it was, the fact that in the end he's not doesn't really change anything for his character for me.
I just couldn't picture that dude admitting that he was scared of something in front of all those people, particularly Theon. The way his character has fleshed out,
Right.
He just didn't seem attack. Would be like, oh my god, I'm scared of something.
Right.
It's like-
I mean, I see what you mean, but at the same time, like it really didn't faze me one way or the other, to be honest.
Got it.
Only because again, I felt like his own motivation is just whatever he
Selfish
wants for
interest.
himself. You know what I mean? So it didn't really faze me that much. So finally during the meeting, then so obviously Cersei disagrees with helping out because Jon won't stay out of the contention for the throne
because he bent the knee.
because he bent the knee
Why did he
to
do
Dany already, huh?
Why did he do that?
Because he's like his dad. He wants to be like his father. Or
Because
who-
it's honor. It's
Yeah,
had to
to
do
him it's
with
an honor.
honor.
She had just gave him what he wanted. She already said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go north and help."
Right,
you." At that point,
but-
I'd been like, "I saw you want to hop on his dick."
yeah,
Like,
but I
this-
think
No,
I think,
because I think it's just honor.
Yeah,
For
it's
him, it's just
his
honor and be
character.
valid to his word.
But he just had spent 5 episodes talking about how his honor demanded that he not bend the knee because he had to defend the North and the interests of the people.
But then he finally
Because she came
Five
she
episodes,
came
yeah.
for him, so
yeah,
once
He-
you see that pussy.
the dragoness. I mean, dragon glass.
I mean,
All
I don't
right,
know. At
let's
that point,
wrap it up
I would
now.
have just been like, "All right, awesome. So you came, you helped me. You're gonna help me with the North. So you want to bone?"
All right, so let's get this through.
Once you see the
Okay,
pussy,
so
come and help.
they killed Littlefinger. That was fucking awesome.
That shit was gangster.
That was pretty
It was a
gangster.
great payoff. The setup was
Yeah.
crappy, but the payoff.
Yeah, the
was
setup was crappy,
setup was
but yeah, the
crappy.
payoff was
I-
good.
No, not. I'm talking about that episode. I'm talking about the season in general.
Yeah,
we
that
talked
tension
about
between
already.
Sansa and Arya
Gotcha.
was weird,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but
yeah.
the
That-
fact that they got him, the way
No,
they
the setup
did
of
was
how they
good.
got of how they get him. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. So finally, Bran and Sam finally talk about Jon's parentage and now he's Aegon Targaryen. Again, the whole thing about there already being a prior Aegon Targaryen. Why would Lyanna name him the same? Is kind of a weird thing.
But it doesn't. Aegon, most of his childs that he named him Aegon too.
No,
That's
well,
what I
there have been
heard.
Several. There have been several Aegons. There were 5 kings named Aegon. The last one was Aegon the Unworthy because he was the 4th son of a 4th son, so he was very unlikely. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Aegon the Unlikely, not Aegon the Unworthy. Anyway, there have been a lot of Aegons, but there's no like. I got a daughter, and then I have another one born 14 months later. I'm not gonna name them both the same name.
Right.
That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, it's weird.
And only
Not
that,
to mention that it was Ilaria. It wasn't it Ilaria's son that was Aegon?
Elia. Ilaria is the.
No, I'm sorry, not Ilaria. Yeah,
Elia.
Elia. Yeah.
You're about to talk about eat a dick.
So
That's
yeah,
true.
like
That is true. You guys are living, breathing examples.
Yeah.
So.
so yeah, like
Jose
that was
and
weird.
Jose.
It was weird that it was his other wife's kid. Why would she name him the same? It
Yeah,
wouldn't make any
it wouldn't have
sense.
made any sense.
So that was.
And
kinda
it wouldn't have
strange.
made any sense to say that maybe it was because he already knew that the first Aegon was dead, because that's not how those events,
Right.
timeline that those events unfold. So
And after this season, how many kids gonna get born right now? They're gonna be named Aegon.
Oh, you mean
real
life.
like
In
real
real
life
life, yes.
children? Yeah.
Because I seen people name their kids Daenerys.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
for
like,
sure.
what the fuck?
And Khaleesi.
Khaleesi. I see
Yeah,
Khaleesi too. I'm like, oh lord.
I've seen
Oh, Lord.
a couple of dogs named Khaleesi.
Okay, maybe a pet. That's fine.
A pet
I
is
get
fine,
that. Drogo.
but
Where are we
I'll
on
name my
time?
dog
We're-
Drogo.
we're-
That's cool.
I saw
I'm gonna
a meme.
name
I
my
saw a
kid
meme where
Drogo.
they're calling him Aegon instead of Aegon.
Aegon.
Whatever.
Do we have time for predictions for next season?
yes,
Okay.
let's do it fast.
All
Come
right,
on,
so
guys.
let's do this. All right, so do you guys want to take turns, or do we just throw them out, or what do you want to
I
do?
think
No,
there's
no,
gonna
no,
be
go,
6
go.
episodes.
Throw your predictions and we talk about it. Throw your predictions
Okay,
and we talk about
so
it.
my predictions.
Yeah.
All right, so let me throw this question out. Who do you guys think gets the throne?
Oh, the
I
guy
have
with
a
the
crazy
beard.
one for this, but I want to go.
Okay, you want to go last? Okay, so who do you think gets the throne?
I think that nobody.
You don't think anybody gets the throne?
What?
Nobody gets the.
You think they all die? Night King gets the throne.
I think they divide.
You think? Okay,
Yes.
well that's different.
Okay.
Okay, what do you think?
I'll still go with Cersei just because
Really?
she's a fucking crazy ass manipulative, fucking sneaky. You never know what the fuck happens. That bitch.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I'm
That's
just throwing it out there
interesting
just because nobody would say it.
too. Okay,
That's all. That's really the only reason.
I mean,
John, what do you think?
I'm
Bilbo Baggins.
Baggins.
okay.
The next
So
character
this is
for
probably
Game
more.
of
This is
Thrones.
probably more predictable. But I mean, I do think John gets the throne. However, I
Thanks.
think Danny has to die for him to get the throne.
Okay.
That's
So we're-
a more.
We're
I just think
you're-
Cersei's gonna pull
We're
some
halfway
crazy shit
there.
off.
I think that John just knocked Danny up. Oh, so
Okay,
Danny's
challenge
gonna,
accepted.
Danny's gonna die in childbirth the way her mother died, the way John's
Okay.
mother died, the way Tyrion's mother died.
Right.
Anyway, then John will die fighting the Night King. The baby is going to be the one who's going to inherit the throne.
The throne.
But Sansa's going to be Hand. Bran's going to be Master of Whispers because he's the fucking best
Why-
Master
You
of
think,
Whispers
you
ever.
think Sansa is?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're like their cousin or whatever. The thing is that this story is about John, right? John's a central
Right.
character in the story.
Right.
But what holds the story together, has held it together through all the seasons, has been the Starks, has been
Right.
Arya, Sansa, and
Yeah.
partially Bran when he's not being weird. So they haven't built those characters up and
You don't
given them
think-
all these abilities and powers and skill and experience or whatever to not have them be a major force.
Okay,
Not
no,
just
yeah,
in the
okay.
North, in the show.
Okay, but
so
but
who better to care? Think about the symmetry, right? Ned protected John all this time, and now Ned's children are going to protect John's child.
okay,
Good prediction.
but now Sansa will end up being queen in the North. Then I think, despite the fact that she may be a part in maybe
No,
the child.
because John already handed the North back to Dany. She might be warden of the North,
Well,
but John already
okay.
handed the North back to Dany.
Okay, maybe so, but if Dany's dead,
Yeah, but there's an
you know
heir.
what I mean?
And she's and Arya and listen, Arya and Sansa might be cool now. Arya ain't gonna let nobody fuck with John.
No, of course
So
not. But either way, I mean, I think
the only thing
John,
about this prediction that would have to happen though is that there's gonna have to be a significant time jump.
right between
At
the
some
end of
point.
between the end of
Like the last
Great
episode.
War, yeah, between the end of the Great War and then whenever the baby is born, if there is a baby,
There's gonna have to
yeah,
be.
maybe so.
So that's the only thing
Um,
that might hinder that, but that's my prediction.
Okay, now what about? Okay, so now as
Jaime.
far as the other characters, okay, so Jamie, where do you think Jamie's heading?
My first well, before I say that, do you think Bron's gonna go with him or is Bron staying?
I think Bronn is loyal enough to him and to Tyrion to maybe want to be with either. But again, Bronn is one of those guys that
Because they show Jamie leave by himself. So I don't
right.
know.
But again, Bronn is one of those characters that, despite the fact that he's loyal to the people that he's with, he's out for himself too.
Sure.
He's a more benevolent
Yeah,
character.
Yeah, he's pragmatic, but
But he's still out for himself.
Side note: did you know that the actor that plays Bronn and Lena Headey used to date?
Yes, yeah, I've heard
And-
that rumor before.
And now
They can't be in any scene
They can't be in
together.
any scene together because they fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
That's why he
Yeah.
left that meeting in
I've
King's
heard that.
Landing. I just found that out. So I think Jamie is going to try to go to Tyrion, but then
It's pretty fun.
we had to talk
Who's
about
Lena Headey? The Cersei?
Cersei.
Oh,
then
okay,
we would have
Cersei.
to talk about like Tyrion and that shadiness that he had in the boat when
Right.
Jon and Dany were smashing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's just creeping
kinda
up in there. Yeah, he's
I
creeping
think
up in there.
I think if let's say Jamie goes to Winterfell to try and pledge himself to the Northern cause or whatever, Brienne will speak for him. Tyrion will speak for him. I guess.
But everybody's
I don't
got
know
beef
that
again.
Jamie,
But everybody's got beef on
I don't know
him.
that Jamie's gonna trust him. Bran's gonna be like, "You pushed me out a window,
Exactly.
motherfucker." Arya's gonna be like, "You pushed my brother out a window,
Right.
motherfucker." Like,
That's gonna be a weird play
gonna-
out. Yeah, it's gonna be strange.
I think he
that-
died.
To me, that's my most interesting
I think he dies.
thing going forward right now. You
I
he dies?
think. Well,
Yes, I think he dies. I don't know how, but I think he dies doing something heroic. Because I think the show is going through that,
Yeah,
changing his
he
character
has
to
the
be,
redemption arc.
yeah, the redemption
and
thing.
see,
Yeah,
along
so-
along those lines,
Yes.
I
he
think.
walks away from
But to
Cersei.
do
Yeah,
something
he walks
heroic,
away from
he's gonna
Cersei.
have to be in the mix.
Right.
And what we
So
were
they're
talking
not-
about, what we were talking about, that I think he's the one who's gonna kill Cersei because Cersei's gonna get crazy. He's gonna be the playing role
I
of
kinda
like the
have- I
Mad
kinda
King
agree with that.
or the Mad King. She's gonna be like the Mad
I
Queen.
kind of agree
thing,
with
kinda.
that maybe he won't kill her directly, but he'll definitely have something to do with it. But sorry, go ahead.
What if this? What if he goes to Winterfell like we all think? Arya smokes his ass, takes his face, kills
And then she
Cersei
kills-
as Jaime.
And then she gets her off the list.
That
That
would-
would be pretty gangster.
That would be sweet.
That would be pretty gangster.
And then Arya
Um,
becomes queen.
Now along.
Oh,
And
shit.
bends the knee to Dany,
Oh, shit.
giving every
My man.
That's
This is
a-
an episode of how we should end.
So,
how the
now-
Game of Thrones should have ended.
Yes.
So you mentioned about Jamie trying to redeem himself. So that's where I think Theon's arc is going too. Like I think Theon is gonna try to save Yara, and he'll die saving Yara. He does,
Theon should've
but I
died
think,
when
but I
Yara was
think,
in
but I
time.
think that's his arc. You know what I mean? He's been shitty and
Yeah, dude. Fucking
gay
Ramsay
the whole
shit already taking his
time.
ass out.
So I think in him, finally getting
I think you're
all these
partially
guys,
right.
I
I think
think
he's gonna
they'll-
get to Yara, realize Euron's not there because Euron's off, and Esso's trying to get the Golden Company. He gets Yara out, and then they go and tell Dany, "Hey, Euron didn't go back to the Iron Islands. He's doing X, Y, and Z," which then leads Dany to understand that the Lannisters betrayed her
Mhm.
or didn't hold up their agreement or whatever, and maybe that's how Jaime is accepted. Because maybe Jaime's there, he's like, this is what Cersei's doing. They're like, we don't believe you. And then Theon and Yara come, and they're like, yeah, it's true. And
Right. Yeah, but like I said, I feel like, in order for there to be some kind of weight to him being still around, I think that he's gotta sacrifice himself to some extent in order to make up for all the shit
I hope
that he
Viserion
didn't do.
eats him. Or Ghost.
But it's gotta be in the name of something, though. You know what I mean? Because otherwise,
Lunch.
you waste his character. And then okay, so what about Clegane Bowl? Last
Oh,
one.
it's happening.
Yeah. Who do you think? Who you got? I got the Hound. I gotta take the
That
Hound.
was tougher than Mayweather McGregor.
I gotta take the Hound.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see
Just
the Hound
because
win.
the Hound was cool.
I'd like to see the Hound win. He was
What
low
was
key
his-
MVP.
What
this
was his
season.
line?
Yeah.
Something. You know what's coming for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who's coming.
And
for
everybody's a cunt.
Yeah, he dialogue wise, low key MVP. This
Yeah,
season.
he's
him and Brienne talking about Arya. Him and Tormund talking about Brienne.
you. Yes, she was awesome.
Oh, and what about Tormund? You think he's gonna hook up with Brienne?
You think he made it out of that?
He didn't
I
make
think
it
so.
out. No.
I think so. Because
I
you know what?
said
He's
thought
gonna
so
be-
the first time.
because-
Because half was they're not gonna kill him off screen, but I agree with Mo. I just rewatched it before coming here. That entire section of the wall crumbled down.
Yeah, but you can't take out a character like that, man.
He's
You
gonna make it out
can't.
somehow.
He's got to be alive. I think he's alive.
Him and Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's gonna burrow through. Like, get the fuck out of here.
He's gonna be alive. I don't think he's dead. I really don't think he's dead. I don't think they would take him out like that.
Does Beric give Tormund the last kiss of life or whatever, like what he does for Lady Stoneheart in the books, and that's how Tormund
That's how
lives?
Tormund lives. I don't think so.
Have you heard what Lady
I
Stoneheart
don't
is
think
yet?
so.
No, you get sex in
Yeah,
the
we
bottom. I
mentioned
had no idea.
Lady Stoneheart. Okay, so Lady Stoneheart
Lady
is Lady Stark. Catelyn
She
Stark.
they find her
She gets
body,
reanimated.
Oh,
and
they
Thoros
reanimated.
uses the remainder of Beric's life force to reanimate
Nice.
her.
Right,
so
but
Beric
then-
dies, she comes back, but she's not even close to what Thoros is. All she is like a banshee.
Yeah, and
Minus the
she's basically out for fucking
Yeah, revenge. She's a
murking
a
people.
wraith. There you go. She's
Yeah.
a wraith.
She's fucking out to fucking take out guys.
Yes.
So. But anyway, but she never made it into the show, so which kind of sucks because she was cool. She was a cool character in the book. But anyway, all right, man. So overall, I mean, the season was. I mean, I liked the season. I thought it was a good season. It's just I felt like it was too crammed, a little rushed. There was some plot holes in there that were a little weird, but overall, the big stuff that happened was really cool, and I think it paid off really well. So we'll see if any of the shit that we talked about does come through. So
I'm just so depressed that it's gonna be
What is it, like a year and a half?
14 months, probably
That's
longer.
ridiculous, man.
It sucks.
Boo hoo. Plenty of homework.
Yeah.
Watch all the seasons a few times over.
Yeah.
Not only
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
you gotta catch up on.
All right, so that's the wrap up for the Nerdos number 10 super special
Game of Thrones.
Game of
Yes.
Thrones
Game of
edition.
Thrones edition,
Yes.
season 7 review and predictions.
After
Yes.
the Eclipse edition.
And if you like our videos, please subscribe. And goodbye.